Henry Cejudo is one of the more underrated champions the UFC has ever had, and a guy that everybody counted out. And anybody that knows him, he believed in himself. He comes from a poor family, comes from a family that has nothing, always believed that everywhere he's gone and all the trials and tribulations he's broken through was because of hard work and dedication and believing himself. He's the first UFC fighter to win an Olympic medal and win 2 titles in 2 different weight classes at the same time. Think about it. And Henry Cejudo, who is going to ride off into the sunset, he did lose his fight and he wanted to go out a winner, and it was so gracious what he did after the fight. He was on his knees after the fight, and he was talking to Dana, and he said, "Take care of this kid. I love this kid," the kid that beat him in Talbott, and spoke very highly of the kid, and said that, he thanked, before he even went up there, he was thanking the UFC and thanking everything that they've done and helping him and really helping him, his family, grow as, people that really had nothing and now have something to live for. And Henry Cejudo is very loved by everybody. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that Henry Cejudo was a bad guy. So you want to see somebody ride off into the sunset as a winner. Peyton Manning did it. All these champions that we've seen over the years, there are guys that ride off into the sunset, and I would have liked to see Cejudo do that. But he took on a fighter that's up and coming in that weight class, a very good weight class with a lot of talent, and it's something that you want to see. But my love goes out to the Cejudo family and Henry Cejudo. I love everything about him, everything that he stands for mixed martial arts and boxing and wrestling. This guy is so gracious and such a good person by heart. And anybody that hates this guy or doesn't like this guy doesn't understand what it is to love a person that stands for his sport and what the sport really brings to the game. So my love goes out to the Cejudo family. The fight that really stuck out to me was Yan and Merab, and that was the fight everybody couldn't wait for. And me being one of those guys that couldn't wait for this fight, Merab wanted to break records. He's always about breaking records. Merab trains out here in Long Island. And I got a chance to go to the gym and watch this guy train. This guy is a monster. His stamina, his ability to do the things that he does and do it so friggin' well. I've never seen anything have the stamina. I've never seen a fighter have the stamina this man has. He is special. He really is. And he didn't want to make any excuses after the fight, but he did come out and say that he had some kind of sickness and he was dealing with lung problems because of the sickness. And I don't think he was trying to make any excuses after the fight, but there were people saying that he might have had a broken jaw. They were saying there were things going on in the fight that he just didn't look right. And I would say that. I would, but I got to give a little bit more credit to Yan. Yan was sensational. He really was. He was there. He was ready to fight. He was ready to dominate this fight. He had something to prove after 2023 and losing that fight against Merab, where it was very, very close until the 4th and 5th round. I just didn't think this fight was even close. I think Merab was completely dominated after the 2nd round and all the way through. Yan was throwing the jab. He bloodied his face pretty early in the fight. Really, at the end of the first round, you saw that Merab's eye was shutting and it was getting pink, and it was just complete domination. The stand-up fighting of Yan is just remarkable. This guy is one of the best stand-up fighters the UFC has, and he showed it. He was throwing inside kicks. He was doing everything right, and every time Merab was trying to take him down, he just did everything right. He sprawled, everything. Everything you can say you want a fighter to do against a great wrestler, Yan did that. And he completely did the one thing that would transition and take Merab out of the fight, and that was take him away from taking him down. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Merab tried to take him down 29 times and only took him down twice. And I don't think Merab, when it comes to percentages, we've ever seen Merab with those kind of percentages have so many bad opportunities or not have the opportunities to take a fighter down the way he did. It was It was really remarkable. If it was a fighter that could fight a perfect fight, Yan did that against Merab. And anybody that knows mixed martial arts and understands mixed martial arts, the way he defended the takedowns was just excellent. And then when Merab would take him down, he would get right back up. It's just that's something that you like to see. You like to see somebody train and get ready for a fight and be ready for a fighter that completely dominated him in the later rounds in the first fight in 2023. I will say this about Merab. Merab likes to take on challenges. Merab wants his rematch, and I could see Merab winning the rematch. But Merab was trying to prove that he wanted to be the first fighter to win 4 matches in a year. And he was on his way. This was his 4th fight. And all the fighters that he fought this past year in 2025 were elite fighters. And he wanted to do it against Yan. And I just think he picked the wrong fight, the wrong matchup against a guy that was hungry and younger than him. Yan is like 2 or 3 years younger than Merab is. Merab is what, 35, 36. Yan's like 31, 32 years old. He's in the prime of his career. I don't think we've seen the best of Yan yet. So that's the incredible story about this, that when Merab fights Yan again, is Merab going to get the best of him? Maybe Yan he's in his head now. So we've seen this before. It's, with the fight game, you just don't know. And it's the UFC has been back and forth with these cards. So I didn't know what to expect, but that fight was sensational. It's going to go up as fight of the year. Even though it was really so lopsided when you look at the scores, it was a lot closer than you think. And again, I've never seen Merab being dominated, especially on the takedowns and trying to take somebody down and not taking somebody down the way Yan really defended it. I've never seen anything like it. So I still think Merab is one of the top 3 fighters right now in the UFC, even not being the champion. Yan is the champion right now. But I think the UFC has something. I think we're going to see a lot of Yan Merab left. I could see maybe 2 or 3 more fights with these guys. They're both great. And Merab already came out and said, you haven't seen the last of me. I haven't even hit my top what would be the word? I've not hit my top my top end yet. So I'd like to see what Merab is going to do, what he says he's going to do in the near future. The Van and Pantoja fight. Pantoja has been a dominant fighter. I think he's won 6 consecutive fights in a row, and he's been a champion, and he has been as dominant as a champion in his weight class over the last couple of years as any fighter in the UFC. And to see a guy go down in the 26 seconds, landing on his arm the way it did, and I got to give Van a little bit of credit. He's the youngest champion the UFC has ever had. I think he's 22 years old. To watch Pantoja go down the way he did, and not punch at him when he was pointing to his arm because he realized that it was broken, or it was disgusting. When you watch the replay of it, it was really, really bad to watch. But to see Van actually not drop hammers on him or hammer fist him or try to hurt this guy and they stop the fight, it shows a lot on who Van is and how great of a young kid this kid is. And I'm looking forward to the rematch with Van and Pantoja, but it was a fight that everybody was looking forward to. Pantoja, who's a great ground fighter, also can stand up with you, and Van is one of the best combination fighters in all of the UFC. So it was definitely hard to watch. It was disgusting to watch when you watch somebody land. It's like anybody watch Chris Weidman's fight when his leg went on him, and Anderson Silva when his leg went on him. So it's disgusting. It's not fun to watch when you watch a mixed martial arts and you see something give out the way it did. But congratulations to Van being the youngest UFC champion the UFC's ever had. And then there was the Moreno and Tiara fight, who now Tiara is now the number 1 contender for Van's championship. So that could happen early next year. That could happen in the White House because I think that'll be a great fight. Tiara right now is 18-1. He beat a champion. Moreno is a 2-time champion in that weight class, and he knocked him out in the second round and just completely dominated him. And at one point, Moreno had him in a triangle, and it looked like it was really deep. And Tiara just calmed down. He got himself out early in the later in the first round and got out of the round, and then just completely dominated the second round and eventually knocked out Moreno. And Moreno, I thought the fight was stopped a little too early. I think Moreno, if being that Moreno is a fan favorite and a champion, I think the referee could have given him a little bit more time to recuperate. But nevertheless, Tiara is one of the best young fighters in the UFC, one of the more dominant fighters we've seen in that weight class in a very long time. So it was a good card, fun to watch, and definitely the Merab and Yan fight was definitely up for fight of the year. I don't think you can take away anything. Anybody that loves mixed martial arts and loves wrestling and stand-up boxing and kickboxing and Muay Thai, this was the fight to watch because you have two great champions, two great fighters going at one another and know each other very, very well, only in the second fight, and put on an absolute display of just combat fighting that you love to watch, and wasn't boring. There was nothing boring about that fight. And at the end of the fight, Merab, his face was completely demolished, and Yan didn't have one. I don't think he had one bruise on his face, but that didn't take away from how close the fight was in certain aspects of the fight. So, but very well deserved by Yan. I think Yan wanted this fight. He's been waiting for a chance to fight Merab again, and now he's on a winning streak. Merab was on a 14-fight winning streak, and now he has a chance to start it again. He says we haven't seen the best of Merab yet. So, and he's 36 years old. So I'm looking forward. I'm going to actually be going to the gym. I'll be going to Nassau County. I'll be going to see Merab train coming up in the next couple of months, and I want to see his workout plan. His diet is ridiculous, and he doesn't have a dietitian. He doesn't trust dietitians. Anybody see the type of weight this guy drops? Think about it. He's dropping to 135, all right? He's walking at 180, and he's dropping almost 40 pounds with no dietitian. It's pretty incredible what he's doing right now. And I got to give a little bit more credit than credit is, than people give Merab a little bit credit for. And he's such a kind soul, and so humble. And he apologized to the fans after the fight and all that other stuff. And he wasn't trying to make excuses, but you could tell there was something up with him right in the beginning of the fight. He was playing with his jaw, and it looked like he was breathing wrong, and he's never tired. So there was something going on with him as far as I'm concerned. But it was sensational. UFC 323 was definitely something that I was excited for. And maybe the UFC has something up their sleeves for the final pay-per-view of the year in December. So I haven't been a fan of some of their pay-per-views. 322 wasn't great. 321 was and 320 was good. So every two main events, two pay-per-views, there's a good pay-per-view. So this was their best one in almost 2 months, or 3 months. So it says a lot about Dana, and we'll see what Dana does. He's getting ready for this White House extravaganza in, I think they said it's going to be May or June, where there's going to be 7 or 6 big-time fights with some of the biggest fighters the UFC has to provide. And they're saying John Jones is going to come back to fight Piera. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with that, and maybe somebody else. Maybe Conor McGregor comes back. Who knows? I heard the last time I heard Conor McGregor's name being brought up in the conversation, he wants $100 million, and the UFC told him to bug off. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but a very, very interesting story.